It's happening. Even if you can't see it yet, growth is already in motion. Before there are flowers, before there's anything to admire, there's a whole unseen process beneath the surface. Every season tells a story. As we transition now into spring, new life all around us is beginning to push through, unseen, unstoppable. Before the beauty of spring bursts into bloom, though, there's a process, a journey. First, a seed must break open. It doesn't look like growth at first, it looks like destruction. But within that breaking is the beginning. A seed has to break open before it can grow. And what looks like an ending is really the beginning of everything. Then come the roots. Before anything reaches the surface, there is depth. Strength is built in unseen places beneath the soil in the darkness. It's slow, but it's the most important part to set up for the incredible transformation that is in process. And when it finally emerges, this is just the beginning. There's still a push. The journey isn't over yet. There's effort, a reaching, a necessary season of nourishment, of rain, of sun, of patience. Growth isn't instant, healing isn't either, but just because you can't see the bloom yet doesn't mean it isn't coming. This is your reminder. Keep going. The season will change, the light will find you, and one day when you least expect it, you'll bloom.
Hey everyone. Welcome back to the Why of It All. We're so glad you're here today with us. And today we're doing something a little different, something light and breezy to shake it up a little bit. We're in that in-between space where the seasons are changing, and we thought it would be fun just to talk about that shift today, what it feels like in our bodies and our routines and our lives.
So this is going to be a cozy chat. We're not going to do any like crazy deep dives. This is going to be nice and light. We're not getting too heavy today. We just kind of wanted to talk about this exact time that we're all in and where we're at in our growth phase and what we're loving as we're moving into the spring season. That is kind of an external event, but it's also kind of an internal event as well. But first, before we get into the show, we want to talk about our very good friends and sponsor for today's show, Tulip Blooms.
At the Why of It All, we believe in healing inside and out, and that's why we're proud to be sponsored by a brand we genuinely love and trust, Tulip Blooms. Created by our dear friends Patrick and Ashley, Tulip Blooms is a family-owned American small business that crafts premium skincare products with intention, purity, and so much heart. Every product is handcrafted in small batches with 100% organic, natural, cruelty-free ingredients, formulated to nourish, soothe, rejuvenate, and support your skin's natural vitality. They offer lotions, body butter, facial serums, artisan soaps, and candles, and even hair and beard oil for the guys. Whether you're looking to deeply hydrate, rejuvenate, or simply love your body a bit with more ritual pampering, Tulip Blooms delivers high-vibe care you can feel good about because it's skincare rooted in nature, backed by integrity, and made with love. Visit tulipblooms.shop and use our promo code HEAL, that's HEAL, at checkout for a sweet discount of 10% off. When you shop small, every purchase supports a dream and makes a real difference in the lives of a real family. Tulip Blooms is more than just a skincare company. They're part of a healing movement, and your purchase helps to keep that movement growing. It's one of the best ways to support our show and a small business we love and believe in.
So those are our friends, Patrick and Ashley at Tulip Blooms. We are so honored that they are sponsoring this show. It feels kind of surreal, doesn't it? That we even have a sponsor right now. This is episode 9.
I keep saying pinch me moment, pinch me moment.
Pinch me.
It's been a pinch me moment.
So what has been your favorite Tulip Blooms product that you're using?
Ooh, you know what? If I had to pick one right now, although I'm using about 4 or 5 different products from the line.
They're just so luscious.
They're just so luscious. But I swear when I put the castor oil blend on at night after I cleanse my face, clean everything off, I do my toner, and that's the last thing I put. I don't put anything on even after it, like a moisturizer. I put the castor oil. It's very thick. It's very viscous, right? It's a heavier, right, blend. But I'm telling
And
you,
you're using it as a facial oil.
I'm using it as a facial
Yeah.
oil, but you can put it in your scalp. You can put it in your body. But I feel like it's so like rich. I'm like, I just want to use it on my face and my scalp. And like, you know, because.
And I use it on my face too. That's my favorite way to use it. And it smells so good.
I love it.
I love it. So that one's my favorite too. Castor oil is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
My second favorite, if I had to pick one, would be the Rainfall, the lotion. Because I like a lightweight lotion. I don't want a lotion that sits super heavy on my skin. I don't like a cream. I like, except sometimes on my hands I'll do a cream if I'm like crusty.
Crusted and busted.
Right? But on my body, I want a lightweight lotion. And what's so great about Rainfall is it just goes and it sucks right in.
Yeah.
And your body really drinks it up. And my skin doesn't feel like I have a product on it. It feels like my actual natural skin, but just what my skin is supposed to feel like, actually moisturized and not friggin' dry.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it just puts the natural moisture back into the skin.
Yes. And the rose geranium scent is absolutely my favorite. It's amazing.
Yeah. So
amazing.
So support them, guys. Like we support them. We're so excited for their journey and their business. And we want to support
and they
them.
really do put their heart and souls into it. Like it is,
They do.
It is their whole life. And they're it's just Patrick and Ashley, they've got 2 kids with 1 on the way.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a couple of assistants that help them with shipping and stuff, but otherwise it's just them, guys. This is a legit family business. Yeah.
Yes.
So support our dear friends.
Yes.
So so I hope you guys enjoyed that video that we played at the intro. That was my garden.
It was.
That was my garden. So one of my things that I'm passionate about is native landscaping. So that was my garden like a month ago or so,
a few weeks ago.
And it's all native plants, and they were just starting to emerge. Like at that point, we're just coming out of winter, and I was walking through my garden and having this moment of inspiration about the perfect analogy that gardening is, and this seasonal change is, to the healing changes that I'm going through right now. So I made that reel, and we thought it was the perfect thing to add to this episode, which, by the way, was Gina's idea. Like the whole doing the seasons change topic, that was all Gina's idea. And I'm like, hey, I just did a thing about that like a month ago.
But isn't it wild how it all coincided? And like she had the forethought to make that reel like a month ago. And I'm like, Melanie, let's do something light and airy this time. Let's just like keep it light and just chat it up and talk about the seasons changing, from winter to spring to summer soon. And we're just like, there's things we want to chat about, things that are going on in our lives, new practices that we're putting into play, everything's awakening, right? Like there's a kind of that same analogy, right?
And spring is my absolute favorite season. Some people like summer,
in
some
Texas.
people are fall people. Yeah, for sure in Texas.
Yes.
Spring is my favorite season. I feel like I go on my walks and I walk through my garden and everything is blooming, and it's like nature is inspiring me by just doing its own thing.
Yep.
It's such a beautiful analogy.
Yeah, I love it. So Melanie, like as we're talking about it, we're talking about the shifts in our body, in our moods, and our routines. Are there any shifts you felt lately in your energy or rhythm? Like, is there anything that has
that's sort of like the theme of my life right now.
Let's dig into that.
Yeah. I mean,
what are you feeling?
Back when we had first started this show, we were just barely cresting that transition from like things are really hard and we're really on the struggle bus to suddenly things have started to change.
Mm-hmm.
That was the very beginning of it. And now, we're 4 months in, and I feel like for me, I am going through my own inner spring. Yeah. It's incredible. It's like the in that video, for example, in the video, it talks about, before, when a seed is germinating, it breaks open.
Yeah.
There's a breaking that happens and it looks like destruction, but it's not. It's growth. And then before you see a little green sprout shooting up from the soil line, roots have to be developed. There is a depth, there is a deepening, there is growth and things that are happening down in the darkness. Golly,
Melanie,
I just got goosebumps.
Melanie, I'm breaking open right now.
Dude,
I was going to say, dude, I am breaking open right now in so many facets of my
Right?
life. So great analogy.
Yeah.
Great
And so then you've got the little green shoot
Ah.
that comes up, and it takes time, it takes patience when you're finally starting to see the growth. And you're
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm moving through this thing that I'm going through. You know, I'm past the deepest, darkest part of it. I'm looking in hindsight at the thing that happened, and I'm working my way through it. And I'm now beginning to grow from it, and I'm acknowledging the growth.
Mhm.
But it still takes time to go from growth to bloom,
Mhm.
right?
And there are days though, right? Like I don't know about you, but there are days where I don't feel any movement. I don't feel any growth. There are days, but that's where those daily practices come in for me.
Oh yeah, everything
About
we've talked about,
right,
yeah.
like that's when those daily practices come in. Like, okay, I may not feel like anything's moving right now. I may not feel like I'm healing. I may not feel like I'm shifting. Cause like even just last week, I was crying. Like even last week, I was having these like emotions pop up and like having to just release and just get it out. I had a friend like send flowers to my office last week because I was struggling. Like I was on the struggle bus. And so it's that whole thing. Healing's not linear.
Dude,
It's
yes.
just up and down. So like one of the things that I've started doing in the spring, because I've been asleep a little bit on some of my practices, which have helped me through other times. And you know what's interesting? Maybe I want to look back and see like when was I most consistent with my journaling? Because that's one thing I've started to do again with different prompts and different things like that. But I should look back and see, am I most consistent in the springtime when things are awakening and
Oh,
just,
interesting.
you know what I
didn't know
mean?
that's where you were
That's where
going
I'm
with
going.
that.
Cause
but-
I'm like, you know, I'm thinking back. Cause like I will take a hiatus. Like I may, of course, we all try to be as consistent as possible for the consistency to work in your life. But like sometimes I fall off, you know, the last couple of months I've fallen off. I've been caught up with life or whatever, doing the things, momming, you know, working, yoga. And so, you know, I've picked it up again now for the last couple of weeks and it's felt so good. It's felt like home. Again.
it's investing in your own well-being. When
Yeah.
you don't feel like it, if you've had a rough day
Mhm.
or you've had a rough week or whatever,
Yeah.
and you don't necessarily feel like doing the work. You
No.
don't necessarily feel like taking those steps to raise your vibration and invest in yourself, but you just do it anyway. You got to make yourself do it. And then what happens when you're done?
You feel so much better. You feel rejuvenated. You feel renewed. I feel this like internal sense of peace that just kind of washes over. I'm like, okay, I got that out. I put it down. I put it out into the universe. It's out on paper now. I'm not holding it in here. And there's so many.
And so it sounds to me like, going back to the analogy of the garden, right? It sounds
Yeah.
to me like where you're at is the green is just starting to sprout.
It's just
You
starting
can
to sprout.
see you've left the old trauma and drama. You've left that part in the background in the sense that it's in the past. You're
Mhm.
still working through it.
Mhm.
But you've gotten
Very
to the
much
point
so.
where the little greenery is coming up and you're beginning to once again invest in yourself,
Yes.
your own well-being.
Yes.
You're reflecting
I'm reflecting
on what has occurred.
I'm
from-
repairing.
You're
repairing.
you're doing all of that from your new vantage point.
Yep.
And just like we said, just like in that video, it's like this time there's effort. There's a reaching
Mhm.
for the eventuality of the blossom. There's a
Mhm.
reaching for it, but it requires patience.
It does.
It's not going to happen overnight. You said it
Yes.
yourself. Healing is not linear.
No.
But you're in that process and you can
Mhm.
see yourself in the process and you can have gratitude
Yes.
for where you're at in your process because you're not still back there deep in the muck.
No.
You know?
I feel better. Like but again, it's that slow process.
Yeah. For me, I feel, you asked me before, where do I think I'm at?
Yeah.
I honestly feel like the bud that's just starting to open up.
Yeah.
I feel like, because in my case, remember, a huge part of where I was at last year, the year before that, and back for a decade was physical body pain. That's what my issue was. And so now that I'm finally, now that I've finally found the tools and the process that we discussed in the last 3 episodes, really, that are working for me in terms of retraining my nervous system, and that inflammation for me has come down, I feel so much better.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, not only do I feel better, I feel like myself again. I feel like I got my life back again. I was not me for the last
You were
decade.
not.
I was not me.
I remember conversations where you were like, I just cried all day on the couch, and I've had unbearable anxiety. Like that was not that long
me.
ago.
Yeah. And so
Not that
all of
long
the
ago.
sudden, I'm beginning to feel like myself again.
Mm.
I'm beginning to feel like it is easier than it has been in a decade for me to remain in a high vibrational state, to remain in that peaceful place, a
Mhm.
place where I am able to spot the joys, spot the blessings,
Mhm.
spot all of the wonderful things, notice the pretty flowers. What did they say?
Mhm.
Stop and smell the roses. It's getting much easier for me to smell the roses now. And it was hard for a while. I was like, I don't care about roses. All I see is thorns. But now I feel like
Okay.
I'm on a roll and I'm getting there.
I have to jump in because I was just listening to a Mel Robbins podcast today on the way here. Shout out to Mel Robbins about.
Someday Mel Robbins might know who we are.
Oh God, I hope so. Mel Robbins, can we have you as a guest on our show? Like
Lofty goals, but everything
Hey,
is possible. I believe in infinite possibilities.
you have to think it first, right?
Yeah.
But she was talking about, and Melanie, this brings me back. You're going to die because we used to go on hikes together all the time, which
Mhm.
we haven't done in a while. And I think we need to do that. I think we're overdue
Great
for a
idea.
freaking hike. But
Before it is 90,
too damn hot.
like 102 degrees out.
But one of the tools that she was talking about today on her podcast about having this different mindset is that one of the tools is that when you're going in and you're looking in your day, and you'll resonate with this, you're going to chime in. We might even have a 5-minute conversation about this. But she said basically one of her tools is she gets up in the morning, she goes and does her thing, but she is looking everywhere for a heart shape,
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember my trail heart?
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's a segue into what, and so
Should we tell them what trail hearts are?
well, yeah, I mean, it's basically spotting. Well, let's tell them. But basically, what she was saying is that, like, you're like going through the laundry, or you're looking at a piece of paper, or you're looking at the sidewalk. You might see a heart-shaped rock. You might see a couple of Post-it notes that are shaped like a heart. Basically, training your mind to see the heart.
And that's what
It's like scientifically, there's like a scientific evidence behind it.
Do you remember Courtney in the last episode? Courtney talked about it. It's the reticular activating system. That's the part of your brain that when you buy a blue truck, all of a sudden you see blue trucks everywhere. You buy a new car, you see that make and model.
Yes.
Absolutely everywhere. That's the reticular activating system, and you can train it.
And so that's what she was talking about today.
Amazing.
So tell them about the hearts.
So trail hearts. This was many years ago. There was a time in my life where I felt so good. I was hiking 3 to 5 days a week, up mountains and back. And I used to find a good stopping point and have a little snack. And then I would gather rocks, like, ideally about like that big. I would gather rocks from the area and put the rocks in the shape of a heart, maybe 2 to 3 feet across by 2 to 3 feet across, something like that. And I would leave these little trail hearts all over the place. Now, I found out many years later that that's sort of frowned upon as far as the National Park Service is concerned. Yeah, because you're messing with the natural environment. Maybe there was a spider under that rock that you just wrecked its home or something.
Oh gosh.
So I stopped doing that out of my respect for nature when I realized that was sort of not good. But since then, it brings me incredible amounts of joy when I hike a trail that I've hiked many times and my heart is still there.
It's kind of cool.
It hasn't been messed up yet. Or when I see what you're talking about. Like, where I see it a lot is the prickly pear cactuses. The cactus pads very often will have like a deformation in it. And it's like a natural, perfect heart.
I know.
I love that.
I love it too.
So I love this idea of training your mind to start looking for the hearts everywhere, but you can make that anything. It could be whatever resonates with anyone. Some people are really into numerology, and for them, it's when they spot 1111.
Me.
Ding, ding, ding.
1111.
I forgot you even had that tattoo.
1111.
I totally forgot you even had that.
Yep. Spiritual number. Yes.
So, there's all kinds of different things that you could choose or that choose you that those synchronicities, those things that resonate with you in that moment, it lifts you up. It creates that sense of joy. I love that.
And another thing that I'm doing, and I don't know if it's because of my healing journey or because of spring, you know, talking about all this, but I mean, I will go through long periods of time where I just in the car listen to podcasts. I'm obsessed with podcasts. Before we even started a podcast, I've been obsessed with podcasts. So typically in my car, and my son knows, my 14-year-old, he's in the back, there's always a podcast on. And recently, over the last few weeks, I have been listening to music again. And it's so crazy how music has such a nostalgic feel to it. Like I literally...
Are you listening to gangster rap?
Yes. I'm listening to...
I know you so well, Dad.
I am listening to like Too Short and like DMX and like Nas.
But
and
that's
like
your jam. It's always been your jam.
And let me tell you, I put it on and I blast that shit. Like, and my son's in the back and thank God he likes hip hop too. And it is the most just amazing 15 minutes home because I have that shit turned all the way up and my Atlas Cross Sport is like, you know, and we are both just like, and I'm like moving but it's this awakening again. It feels so good. Yeah. Like it feels like me again. I guess I'm coming home to me. And that's one of those telltale signs where I can tell I'm healing.
I love
like I'm getting back to Gina. I'm getting back to like my love for music and hip hop and rap and like gangster shit. And like it's just my jam.
It just makes you happy.
It does.
It's perfectly fine. So like when I'm in the house, you know what I play? Like
hold on, let me guess. Wait.
It's so weird.
What do you play?
Like Ella Fitzgerald. Like I just want to listen. I just want to listen to old timey like Ella Fitzgerald and old jazz and
I love that.
The classics.
You've inspired me. Maybe I'll listen to Ella Fitzgerald on the way home.
That's not necessarily what I listen to when I'm driving down the road or when I want to sing. Like if I'm singing in the car and stuff.
So what are you going to play when you want to sing?
It's the mishmash of everything. But at home when I want to me it's ambiance. It's when I want that soothing ambiance. Like I've got my essential oils diffusing and I've got the lights turned down a little bit and I'm doing stuff around the house casually. Ella Fitzgerald or like Ella Fitzgerald radio and whatever pops up on there. I love it too.
Melanie and I are going to have
and we're
going to make a playlist. Maybe we should make maybe a Melanie and Gina playlist.
It'll be like
Ella Fitzgerald
and like some gangster shit.
Like we reflected a little bit on like this growth, right? And the real and everything. But like we talked earlier too about the natural messiness of these transitions, right? Yeah. And that, you know, spring can feel hopeful and overwhelming, you know, and we had this conversation before we hit record, but I want Melanie to talk about it again about this messiness and how you've been so overwhelmed and that you've let other things go.
Yeah, man. I mean, so for me, like in part of this blossoming, right?
Yeah.
What it includes is passion. This is a passion project.
It's our passion project.
And so for the first time in a long time, I'm feeling in alignment with purpose and passion. And I just want to throw myself into it.
And you are.
And I am.
And you are. Like beautiful.
Like full time throwing myself into it.
Like 100 full throttle.
Like literally
you're like full throttle Melanie.
I need to actually take a breath and like come up above like a little anyway, whatever. It's fine.
It's okay.
I'm happy to be doing it.
No. She's full throttle, man.
But the point is it feels right to me. It feels like this is what I'm choosing to put my energy into and I love it and it's all consuming. But it's the path that I know I'm choosing and I want to be on. And it feels like I am more in alignment with purpose than I have been in such a long time. And housekeeping has gone by the wayside a little bit. So messiness is a little bit of an understatement. Like Gina and I were laughing because I was like, you don't even want to know when the last time I mopped my floors was.
And I'm like, girl, you don't want to know the last time I mopped my floors because it was the last time my housekeeper was there. And that was like 2 months ago.
It's bad. I'm just glad my daughter is old enough to like actually have a chore chart and actually like be doing chores that make a difference around here. Like she started vacuuming. I got her wiping down tabletops.
Girl, it looks not. It's
she
not
does
bad.
A good job.
It looks good.
Like at first glance, when you walk in here, at first glance, it's all right. Yeah. It's fine. Just Just don't look too
Just
deep.
don't look too deep. Don't run my finger
No,
across the
don't
floor
do
and
that.
see if there's
don't,
blood.
don't do that.
I won't do that.
Yeah, but yeah, so this growth process that we're in,
Yeah.
it can be messy sometimes. It's like you are shedding the old and stepping into the new, and sometimes it's like you don't know which way you're going, up from down, and this renewed focus and intention. Sometimes other things have to slide down to the back burner a little bit. And that's okay. I've decided that it's okay.
Yeah, it has to be. And, also too, one of the things that Mel Robbins was talking about in her podcast was about having goals and having a focus, because it takes your mind off of yourself, right? And pours in. Like right now, our passion project is this podcast. And really, we're doing it to affect others. We're doing it obviously for our own personal enjoyment and fulfillment, but the passion of it too is spreading.
It's being a contribution to humanity in
Period.
a big way that feels meaningful to us.
That feels meaningful. It gives. So anyway, having these goals, like we talk about the future in the podcast, we talk about our goals. And so I just think that's part of the growth process too. And having, even if it's little goals that you set for yourself, that just kind of turn into bigger ones. And anyway.
You know what I just thought of too?
Yeah.
So another thing that we were talking about earlier, and full disclosure, I don't have anything to hide, so we're just going to talk about it.
Yeah.
In the last few weeks, as busy as I have been doing the post-production stuff for the show and everything that entails, the truth is that I did neglect my family to a certain degree, to enough of a degree that it was brought to my attention.
Yep.
And I didn't do it because I didn't deprioritize them. I was just so hyper focused in the moment, and I can get hyper focused.
Amen,
I can get that way.
Yes. I think it's a curse and a blessing at the same time.
Sure.
I think
that. Sure. We're going to go with that.
It's a blessing.
So, but what I will say is that, when things get messy and some things in your life get neglected, Melanie, I'm going to always come back around to letting go of judgment. So recognizing what's going on, but not judging it. You can literally, like in this case, my husband brought it to my attention. I said, wow, you know what? You're right. Give me the night. I'm going to think through it, and I'm going to come up with a solution that is going to make sure that you and our daughter are prioritized. And we're going to sort it out. I didn't have to then go self-flagellate like I'm so horrible. I can't believe I went 3 whole days without focusing on my family.
And also too, you didn't get defensive either, did you?
No.
When he you're never a defensive. Like when we have conversations about, you're always.
I can occasionally get defensive. I'm working on that. But it's not often. But
but you didn't. Yeah. And I think that's our natural inclination, right? And at first,
it's a human.
You're telling me I'm doing
it's a human
wrong.
reaction that comes from protecting oneself. But
once you've had time to sit and think about it and process, right?
Well,
you're like, what? Actually, hubby, you've got a point.
And when you are operating from a state of a calm, balanced nervous system, you don't have to hyperreact to every little thing.
Right.
So so he was able to tell me that, and I was able to completely recognize how accurate and truthful he was being.
Yeah.
And he wasn't coming at me. It's not like he was
just
judging me, being all upset. He was just like, hey, by the way, this is kind of a thing that we noticed.
Hi, we're here.
And so as we're going through these the process of our growth, sometimes things are going to shift and move around in unexpected ways.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And there's no need to go into judgment about it, but just be aware and be willing to recognize when maybe things are getting neglected that you really shouldn't neglect. Yeah. And maybe when things do need to be deprioritized, like the floor.
Yeah.
Like the floor is not my top priority, and it's fine.
And also too, we talk things with the podcast. We talk those things through that you had not thought about. Like, okay, maybe less of this, maybe more of this. Sure. You're like, you know what? Actually, Gina, you got a point.
Totally.
And so I love that you're always open to suggestions, and to maybe changing. And because honestly, I come to her as her best friend, and I'm like, Melanie, I see how hard she's working. I see how, into it. And I want her to not burn out. That's the truth. I don't want
I
her.
would be no good to anybody burned
No.
out.
And so I'm always like from a friend status, because first she's my friend, second she's my co-host, but like I'm like, Melanie, what can you do? What can I do to help, alleviate some of this? I don't want you to burn out,
Yeah.
So
and then you get your kudos too then for having the awareness to recognize what's going on and
Yeah.
being willing to come up and step up and
Yeah.
oh, I just love you.
because I love you. I was just gonna say because I love you. And I care about your well-being. Like that's true, like concern and love
Mhm.
for another,
Yeah.
You think we have time for my little yoga nidra little script? What do you think? I think. Have any other words of wisdom for our listeners, Melanie? What do you think?
I think just mentioning that we're all in these seasons of change. If you're here and you're watching this show or listening to this show, it's because you resonate with the message of healing and growth and change.
Mm-hmm.
And remembering always that whatever stage of that process you're in is okay. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Recognize where you're at. Have gratitude for the progress you've made. Have gratitude for even if you've just barely started and you're like, I don't know where to begin. Hello, you recognize the fact that you are now beginning a healing journey. You
Mm-hmm.
started.
Mm-hmm.
And like Gina brought up, start training that reticular activating system to start looking for the little joys, the little blessings, the little, the little things in your environment, in your world that can remind you that things are good. Things are going to get better. And soon enough, you're going to bloom into the fullness of who you are if you stay with it and don't give up. That's sort of the message I think for today.
I love it.
Short, anything you want to add?
Sweet. I want to read this little nidra script because
Cool.
I'm a yoga instructor and I teach more restorative, relaxing type yoga practices. And so appropriate too that I did a nidra script last night for my students for seasons changing and changing from spring to summer. And so there's this intention, and the book is called Yoga Nidra Scripts. It's by Tamra Verma. And it's just a quick little excerpt, but I read this to my students last night and I hope they enjoyed it, but I'm going to read it for you guys. And it's kind of setting an intention for these changing seasons. But it says, with a focus on shifting into summer season, know that summer is arriving. Feel that summer is arriving. All of nature in full bloom at the height of potential. Animals are playing. The air is sweet. The sun is radiant and energizing. It's the perfect time for you to play too. Time to dance with this summer rhythm, full of life, playful, productive. Test out your shiny new wings. See what you can do. Soar to new heights. Fly off and explore. Try some new tricks. The sky's the limit and the sky is all clear for takeoff. Without any fear, any self-doubt, allow yourself to take flight and take action on your dreams. There's no better time. The sun is energizing your every move, casting you in gorgeous, radiant light. The birds are singing your song. The air is fresh. All of nature is pulsing with life. All of nature is conspiring to help you fully bloom into your highest expression of potential. Vibrant, strong, and sublimely stunning. Set your intention now and say to yourself, I shift beautifully into this season of action.
I love that.
I love it too. Yes.
Well, this has been such a sweet little conversation. I'm glad we kept this light.
Yes.
And I really love it when we just let the conversation flow.
And it did. And it flowed in so many directions that we didn't even talk about.
Yeah. And a whole bunch of stuff that I thought I was going to talk about, we didn't even talk about. And I'm fine with that. It's fine.
Well, there will be another episode, guys. There will be another episode. So we're going to get it all out.
We're going to get it. We're going to. So thank you so much for joining us. This has been a fun conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that positive affirmation button, the like, share, follow, subscribe, whatever it is on whatever platform you on. That is really one of the best ways to support this show and the work that we're doing. Visit tulipblooms.shop. Their products are absolutely amazing. And that is another way that you can support this show. And it means a lot to us. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
We'll see you next time.
Have a great week.